So having a small boat's real key too. You don't get back in places, you know, shallow spot, Beaver Dam. You just jump it. That's it. Nothing to it. There you go. You sharked it. That's fun. Yes, sir. Little old chunk. Nothing nice. Real big. Way back in this stuff. Got a little water flow from a beaver dam. Look at it, they all up there. Moving around. See if I can get one to eat right there. God, I didn't get to move it. God, that's a good one. Come on, baby. Like this Revo rocket, boy, get them in quick. Awesome. That's a good one. Looks good. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good chunk. A lot of grass with it, but man, that's fun. They are stacked in here, man. Stacked. There you go. I barely moved it. Ain't that big. These largemouth, they'll stack up in little places like this. And it's like a dead end with water coming out. Catching bait, brim. This water's hot too. Like, they're not back here spawning, they're done. Kind of reminds me of the Mississippi River. That chunk. You know, finding a place like this, it's really hard. You know, especially somewhere where you're up north and there's so much grass and it's so flat. You really have to find something different within the, it's like a needle in a haystack, if you will. But there's things, there's telltale signs that'll show you where they at. You know, little ditches, a little deeper area going back to a place. And for instance, this is a beaver dam. You see these beaver huts around. Beavers live here, they're gonna have a dam somewhere. And what that causes is current. So, you know, with these lakes like this, wind blows and it pushes water in. And if the beaver dam's not too high, it'll push it over the beaver dam. And of course, water's always coming out of a beaver dam. And it just creates current, a pinch point, and allows those fish to set up below the dam and gang up and catch bait, catch brim, whatever that's coming through there. And it kind of pushes them up against that dam as well when it's low. So it's just a place for them to hang out throughout the year. You know, I'm sure they spawn in this area as well, but once they're done spawning, they'll kind of hang out here, feed throughout the day, and just live in this area until it's time to migrate out during the winter. So finding these little key areas, ditches, pinch points, structure in a vast, you know, grassland, if you will. Certain types of grass will hold them more than others. The depth, how deep is that grass? You might have to push out in the lake on some areas. Just finding something different than just, you know, than everything that looks the same. And it's just trial and error a lot of time. It's just finding what they're wanting to hold on at that time. You know, where the brim. A lot of times you see some mats and you can hear the brim popping. When you hear those brim popping, and they're not everywhere, bass are normally in the area waiting to go feed on them. So, you know, throwing a frog, you know, using that, you know, Fenwick 7.3 heavy I like to throw. You know, not too long, just got the right action. It's got, you know, making those long casts stiff enough to set the hook and get those fish in with the Revo rocket, firing it way out. You know, having that quick line retrieve, 4 hook sets, and getting that fish in, or making another cast. Because, you know, if I make a cast and one blows up like, you know, 20 foot over, I want to get it right back in and fire over that fish while he's active. So having this setup really plays a big part in fishing this stuff to maximize your time and getting these fish to react to your bait. So Like I said, it's just finding these little key areas because you just can't go anywhere and catch them. You really have to study, look at Google Earth, and just ride around and fish and figure out what the fish are holding on. There he is, he's coming for it. I got that, sucker that down. Oh. Yeah. Oh man, this is so much fun. Ideally, fishing something like this, a frog is always, one of the first choices, just because you can fish it about anywhere. It's weedless, creates a lot of action, water movement, and the fish is visual, they can hear it. If you're flipping right here, I mean, you may be in a wad of grass over there and not see your pit balls right there. So you really have to be more precise with a flipping bait. With a frog, they can really locate it and run it down and locate it a lot quicker, and you can cover a lot more water, it's a lot quicker, and it just imitates a bait or a frog jumping across the water. And when they're active like this, I mean, it's just, they'll run from, a ways to get it. So it's always a good choice for me to start with, and if it's working, just keep doing it. They are stacked there. Every cast, man, every cast. These are places that you dream about, you want to find, especially at MLF. Every fish counts. Yes, sir. Keep the old Fenwick bent over. There's two different types of frogs: a popping frog, a walking frog. Popping frog will work in this type of grass. It just tends to get hung a little bit more on some of the lily pads and different things. This walking frog just really slides through there a lot easier. You're not getting hung up, and it just looks more naturally going through because you don't want to pull on as much weeds as you can. You want to be able to slide it through there, make it look natural, and not create a whole lot of disturbance. You don't be yanking weeds out of the bottom, get staying hung up. So it's having something real subtle. A lot of times it's key just to get their attention and get them to bite it. There we go. Yes, sir. Old Fenwick, at least getting it done. That's a good one. Rod's light. Oh, that's a good one. The rod's real light, but it's also got the backbone to really get these big fish in out of this slop. Oh yeah, look at that nice one there, boys. Yes, sir. That's what you're looking for right there. On the old froggy, making long casts. Revo rocket with that Fenwick, getting it done, buddy. Pretty northern bass right there. And as far as being quiet and stealthy with your frogs, kind of getting it through that stuff without getting hung up. Going slow. Keep your trolling motor down, lift it up. You don't be digging the bottom, creating a lot of disturbance. Because you may go through an area and want to go back and fish through. You want to muddy the whole thing up and just mess it up. So go slow, get your trolling motor up off the bottom, ease through there. Only hit it when you have to, and just kind of let the wind drift you too is a nice way to, if it's blowing your way, just kind of guide the boat instead of pulling it. So any way you can be as quiet as you can always helps in this shallow water to keep you getting more bites. There are so many fish up here. Right here, come catch some of these. My hands hurt. I think they're just in there, and they're probably coming out of there, that thick grass, because there's water in there. I hadn't really thrown way back to see if there's any way back in there. Frog fishing it's a really heavy setup, but not too heavy. You want to be able to, make a long cast and be able to do a lot with that frog, have a little tip, and you just can't use a flipping stick. Oh, I mean, it's got to be, around that 7.3, at least for me, heavy. You know, I like to skip it too as well, just to be a little versatile with the frog. That 7.3 is just long enough to make those long casts, but not too small where I feel like the fish is whooping me, trying to get him out of the slop. So getting the bait in and out, making a long cast, the fish are blowing up somewhere else. I want to get this bait back to me as quick as I can and get back out. And also, you know, if a fish hits me on a long cast, I can pick up that slack a lot quicker, hit that fish really hard, and then have that speed to get him in the boat as quick as I can. The more that fish is out there, he's digging in that grass, and that's more chances for him to get hung up and twist and get off. Now, you don't want to just crank him non-stop, but you want to be able to have control of that fish. You want to be in control. You don't want him to be in control. And the line is strictly braid. I'm throwing in the 50 to 65. I want the 65, you know, that extra strength just to have that security, but it's a lot harder to throw, especially in wind or something. 50 is probably the lowest I would go on that. So just in that ballpark, depending on the type of vegetation you're fishing as well. I mean, you can get away with the 50 if you're fishing scattered grass, you know, scattered milfoil, something like that. But when you use those pads or you know, really thick stuff, you need some really heavy line, because you're pulling on that fish. There's a lot of stretch on that line, and you want that little extra security that you can keep tension and not have to worry about breaking and not letting that fish off. Well, guys, this is what it's all about. Getting way back into place, trying to find, you know, that little something different that, you know, no one else has found, and you know, fish that haven't been messed with too much, and you know, taking these techniques and putting them to work and catching some of these quality fish that live back in these places. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, though, it's hard to find them. They're small little areas. You just got to look for the things that are a little different, the little ditches, the beaver dams, and a few little places that would create a pinch point, little current spot. Always pay off.